Just start off by introducing ourselves. So hosting today, it's me and Sophie. So I'm Eva, one of the strategic partnerships managers at Art Curriculum Plus. So I've come from a teaching background. I previously taught secondary science and was a middle leader with responsibility for careers education across the whole secondary school. And Sophie?
Hi, I'm Sophie. I am also a strategic partnerships manager, and I come from a maths secondary background. So I was a maths secondary teacher, and I was also in charge of Key Stage 3 data and assessment. Amazing.
So I'll let Sophie start off. So we're going to begin firstly by talking a little bit about Art Curriculum Plus generally. Then we're going to talk about the structure of the our subject excellence programs and what subject excellence looks like before going into some case studies of exactly how schools that we work with have and are achieving subject excellence through the different support that we provide.
Amazing. Okay, so is it going to let me go? There we go. Okay, so Art Curriculum Plus, who are we? So we work hand in hand with schools to deliver immediate impact and sustained subject excellence. This has come from over 12 years of us working and developing our programme and working with different schools. Nationally, we are working with 706 partner schools, but actually have 986 deliveries. So as you can see, quite a lot of our partner schools work with us on multiple subjects, which really makes sure that we can help embed that subject excellence throughout the whole school. Looking through some impact, so we are a very impact and feedback-based organisation, and we give surveys every year for staff to feedback on us. So these are some of our lovely feedbacks that we had from our last impact survey. So as you can see, we've got a lot of feedback from our leaders and our mastery leads, focusing on pupils making progress and saving that teacher time, which is a big focus of ours. We've got another quick question for you guys. Just have a look what issues are currently facing your department. You can pick as many as you think is applicable.
And actually, if there's ones on there that you find are more affecting your department that we've not listed there, please do pop them in the chat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Interestingly, the most staff votes so far, the most people votes for high staff turnover on the obstacles, and then on the issues, and then again, the obstacles to remedying this issue is the strain on teacher time and the recruitment issues, which is very interesting. So these are things that we will address as we go through and discuss the different components.
Give people another minute or so to answer. Amazing. Over to you, Eva.
Fabulous. So with our program, we have 5 different stages of our program. So we have a 5-stage program, as well as then 5 different components within the program. So we can see this 5-step process here. The programs that we deliver, and for at both primary and secondary, we're going to focus on secondary today, we follow this 5-step process. So this 5-step process is designed to go over multiple years, and the different components here, we're going to start by looking at school support. These are the different things that we have within our subject excellence programs. So beginning with the school support component, the things that we include within this school support package are the welcome call. Sorry, I just skipped over there. So the welcome call. This welcome call is where your dedicated development lead. So if you could just pop me back, it's not letting me control the slides quickly. Sorry, thank you. So we've got our welcome call initially. So the welcome call is where the dedicated development lead, who is an ex-teacher who works now with a number of schools across the country, They will then work with your school, identifying what your subject improvement priorities are and exactly what next steps are going to be taken across the summer term to try and prepare for September and then across the coming academic year. And the support that they'll provide within that academic year then in the form of school visits, as well as through online development sessions, as well as ongoing support. So these school visits and online development sessions, these are completely bespoke to your school. So if it was a session for the team on effective adaptation of the resources, that would be the session. If it was something more subject knowledge focused, again, that would be the focus. They're designed to be really, really collaborative and partnerships orientated, because we know that no two schools are the same. So no two schools are going to receive exactly the same type of support. So the support that's provided is very much responsive to what the needs of your department are. Then the next element of the programme we have is then our continued professional development. Sophie,
would you like me to skip?
Yes, please. It's not letting me take control. Sorry, guys. So the continued professional development here, we've got different components. So this is then separate to, but goes complementary alongside the tailored support. So our CPD has different elements. We've got asynchronous elements, which are completed online, as well as live training, which is completed online, as well as also face-to-face training. So we've got a multiple different parts of our CPD provision, the first of which is our induction training. So our induction training takes place face-to-face in July, as well as in September, and that then helps schools, whether they are launch schools or whether they are schools who are already with us and want to kind of brush up their knowledge of the programme or send along new staff members. That induction training provides an opportunity to collaborate with other schools, get networking, as well as also really get under the hood of what the programme looks like in order to fully prepare for the coming academic year. Then we also have lots of e-learning modules which are available online on our My Mastery platform. These include teaching mastery and help staff to prepare for the programme, as well as then also our termly webinars. And these are all preparing to teach, which allow you to prepare for the coming term and the relevant things that are coming up for each subject. So for English, for instance, it might be that they are doing some live moderation in order to prepare their staff for marking different assessments. For science, it might be preparing non-specialists for a specific unit of work that's upcoming that might be a bit tricky. It very much depends on what subject you're doing and what is relevant at that particular point in time. So the CPD is always relevant at the point of need. And the leadership certification as well is then also really beneficial for the mastery leads, as it allows the leaders to also be continuing their professional development in order to effectively lead your team through our subject improvement plan, and also in order to help upskill the department and disseminate the information that's provided to them from the development lead. Then going on to our assessments and data insights. So all of our programs include assessments and data insights, but before we go into all of that, I'm just going to launch another poll with you guys. So let me launch this poll quickly for you guys. So if everyone could possibly please answer here saying, what would you change about your current assessment model?
I'll also say, guys, as we're going through, if you've got any kind of subject specific questions as well, our subject teams are available so we can answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to put them in the Q&A section.
Just give another minute or so, just allow people to answer. Okay, let's have a little look. So you can see the answers that we've got here. We've got the needing more formative assessment at Key Stage 3. Yes, specifically saying that students getting pretty bored and weary of exams at Key Stage 3. Improvement to metrics at Key Stage 3. Yeah, fabulous. So there's a couple of different things there which we can already address based on what we offer in our programs. So within our programs, all of them contain both formative and summative assessments. So these are slightly different program to program, but all of them are on a lesson, unit, and termly level. So within English, for instance, on a formative level, you will have fortnightly quizzes to assess students' knowledge of that unit. And then for geography and science, you'd have pre and post unit quizzes to inform your reteach and help you to reflectively respond to the needs of your class. Then additionally, we have the termly assessments. Now, one of the points that was said was moving more towards formative away from summative. These termly assessments are designed that the autumn and the spring assessments are more formative in nature. So for instance, in science at Key Stage 3, the assessments consist of both a multiple choice component as well as a written component. And the written component is then not actually given a numerical score It's rather giving more formative feedback on what students are doing well, what they need to improve on, and then should you need a qualitative mark to put onto a report, that is where the multiple choice. And then the end of year exam for science, for instance, is then those exam style questions. So it's similar for these other subjects where you've got these termly assessments. Spring and autumn are designed to be more formative with your full summative assessment at the end of the year. And this just helps students to continually be improving their skills and their knowledge throughout the year without getting completely exam weary. So that is then what our termly assessments look like. And for all subjects, assessment guidance is provided, which then, again, dependent on subject, might look slightly different. So for English, for instance, there's really, really comprehensive information about exactly how to standardize your assessments between staff, as obviously we know that moderation in English can be quite challenging where it's slightly more subjective. So there's really, really comprehensive guidance there for the assessments. And then similarly with the other subjects as well, with geography and science, you then also have your question level analysis so that you can identify what student misconceptions are and respond to them appropriately. Then the biggest thing I would say in terms of our assessments is the smart grade data. So for both geography and science, these termly assessments, so for science, these multiple choices in multiple choice papers in autumn and spring and the end of year exams in summer, these grades are then popped into smart grade. Now, smart grade is our national database where all schools within the ARC network and outside of ARC, but within the ARC Curriculum Plus network, all of them have access to smart grade. So they're able to upload their student attainment data and benchmark it and standardize it against their cohort nationally. So this provides staff with a massive data pool. And for geography, this is the largest pool of geography attainment data in the country currently. So it's really, really powerful in terms of being able to assess exactly how your students are doing compared to their peers, where comparing to previous years might not necessarily always be perfect because of the last 5 years having all been impacted in some way by COVID in terms of the assignment data. So that means that you don't have to have any caveats to your comparisons. You know that this is exactly how your students are performing compared to their peers, and allows you to put accurate grade boundaries to your end of year exam so that you can let students know how they're doing compared to their peers nationally. If anyone has any questions on any of these points as well, please do just pop them in the chat and we'll come to them. So I can see the first question we've got is assessment designed to measure both knowledge and skills. Yes, absolutely. So in science, for instance, we've got the skills mapping from year 7 all the way through to year 11, for instance. So these are explicitly mapped throughout. And say, using science as an example here, they have questions within the assessments on both, say, the practicals, as well as then also on specific knowledge points and spec points. But I'll leave that in the chat there as well, so that one of our subject specialists can then add a little bit more detail for you. But yes, it is both knowledge and skills. Then going on to the next point there, the next is then the teaching and learning resources. So this is then kind of very much the day-to-day of what staff would be using on the platform. So on our My Mastery platform is where all of the curriculum resources as well as teaching and learning resources are found. So the following things are included for all programs. So all programs have all long, medium and short-term planning documents. So no matter how much or little detail you want to have a look at, all staff members are able to look into these plans and kind of see the learning journey that students are going to go on. And then all of our programs as well also provide all slides, both in PowerPoint as well as PDF versions. So you've got them completely editable, as well as dialogic talk tasks. These look slightly different subject to subject, but all of our subjects have a heavy emphasis on oracy and improving student literacy, as well as then also embedding formative assessments through checkpoints within the lessons, as well as the assessments that I mentioned previously, And all 3 of these subjects have booklets as well as worksheets to supplement to go alongside the slides that you are delivering in your lessons. Then in terms of the resources that are different subject to subject, in Key Stage 3 English, one of the really powerful pieces that is unique to the programme is the co-planning support. So co-planning support are sheets that are provided. They look slightly different whether you are the mastery lead leading the co-planning or one of the teachers who will be teaching the subject. And that then allows you to share best practice and plan how you might stretch and challenge your students, what misconceptions you might address, and how you might scaffold and support other students. There's then also Key Stage 3 to 4 mapping. So our English programme is just Key Stage 3, but it does show how your students should be progressing in order to feed well into your own Key Stage 4 curriculum, as well as our writing mastery strand, which is the discrete teaching of grammar. So that programme is really, really popular because it's an age, not stage approach, where students can begin at different start points dependent on where they are at that specific point in time in their ability. And that allows you to tailor your teaching to the needs of your learners, as well as a reading for pleasure strand, which is delivered differently in different schools. Some do it within tutor time, some do it within lessons, some set it as homework, but it really incorporates that into the curriculum and allows schools to then have freedom with the text that they choose within that section. Then for Key Stage 3 Geography, the unique STAR resources we have, we've got essay writing materials, which are really powerful in order to improve student literacy throughout geography, as well as then the fieldwork materials and GIS support materials. Now, we've seen when planning the geography curriculum, which is our newest programme, that Ofsted have commented nationally that fieldwork and GIS, geographical information systems, are often done poorly or not at all at Key Stage 3, despite being national curriculum requirements. So having these materials here really, really useful, not only just for head of subjects, but then also for teachers of, as with geography, it's a subject where there's often non-specialist teachers teaching. So these provide a real step-by-step guidance for both teachers as well as students to ensure that students are developing these skills throughout their Key Stage 3 journey. And then for the 11 to 16 science, so we do have Key Stage 3 available as a standalone, but the 11 to 16 is our newest. And that 11 to 16 contains various different resources, which are really exciting. We've got our maths and science, which are embedded throughout the different units. So within a specific unit, the math skills that are relevant to that unit are embedded within that in that curriculum sequencing. And again, are mapped on the 11 to 16 knowledge and skills map that I mentioned previously, as well as scientists in the spotlight and in the news. So you've got that careers link into the curriculum. So you're meeting Gatsby Benchmark 4, and really kind of getting students to think about how the curriculum that they're learning about links to the outside world, and the what if worksheets to try and stretch and challenge and get students thinking further about the application of their knowledge. Then the final point, the final strand of our programme is then the opportunities for collaboration. Now, this opportunities include various things like we've mentioned, such as our webinars, where you get to chat to other people, the face-to-face induction training, again, where you get to chat to other schools, form networks. We find schools up in Newcastle becoming really, really close and working closely with schools in Dorset because they've got such passion for the subject that they're able to share best practice in these different contexts, as well as also in contexts that are more local to their own, as well as then our national conference. So the national conference, this then occurs in March every year, and it's got a combination of subject panels, seminars, keynote speakers, and it's just a really, really exciting day for leaders and heads of subject to be able to really come away with actionable targets to improve their subject and continue on that subject excellence journey. And then also, like I say, collaborating and forming a really, really secure network of like-minded staff who are all seeking to improve their subjects. So I'm now going to hand over to Sophie a little bit to talk about annual conference. If you're a teacher, for the annual conference, schools, it depends on the tier that you're on. You don't have to be a teacher to attend, but on the tailored tier, each school will get 2 complimentary tickets. Leadership tier, you get 1 ticket. It's up to you how you allocate these. And then if you wanted to purchase if you wanted to purchase more tickets for your trust or other leaders or other members of the staff body, then you absolutely can do. So we don't mandate who has to attend, but we do recommend that it is the mastery lead who will be in charge of managing the teachers teaching the subject.
Amazing, thank you, Eva. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some customer voice. So we have been working very closely with St Joseph Catholic Multi-Academy Trust. So they are a trust that is based in the Liverpool City region and serves some of the most disadvantaged communities in the country. The trust was set up in 2021, bringing together 2 secondary schools and 5 primaries, and they are looking to continually expand and grow. And they had the main aim of rapidly improving educational outcomes for these students. In September 2022, the trust began implementing Art Curriculum Plus programs in maths, English, science, primary history, and primary and secondary geography across all 7 of its schools. And we've been working really closely with them over the last couple of weeks to gain some really insightful feedback from them about how they found the program so far. Now they've been on it for just under 2 years. So we split these into 4 main sections. I'll put the quotes up on the screen for you, but there's just a few little things I wanted to point out, including that so Andrew is the CEO of the trust, who's found that the high expectations for all students to be successful. They've also found in the schools that students are fully engaged, and it's really incredible to watch them being able to unpick the language and meaning and inference in some difficult texts. And then also one of the others, the secondary director of school improvement at the trust, has found that it's really made students appreciate the curriculum and know why it's benefiting them. Then we've got some points focusing on teachers. So it's more, a lot of you said at the beginning that a lot of the issues are kind of teacher time and teacher turnover. So that's one of the main things that we really try and focus on, reducing that teacher time on planning, so that time can be spent focusing more on adapting and really making sure that we're being excellent with our teaching. So this really shows that they feel that they have that time. So it's feel like they're not just taking something off the shelf, but they own it as well, which is something that we really strive for. And they have everything they need to make the planning effective as well. And then also making sure that the workload is really reduced was another thing that we found as a real positive from the trust. Then we've got a focus of our professional development. So we found, again, a lot of amazing feedback from the trust on our professional development, but the main ones that we found are that it's putting teachers' mind at ease and saying just have a go at it, and then it's making sure that staff are feeling keen to go on and do that again, and making sure that they are feeling confident in being able to access that CPD and that it is really improving them. And it's also making them aware of how they can improve. So it's giving them those really clear targets on what steps they can do to improve their teaching and improve their standards, and supporting the staff as well, with the leaders being able to know where they need to support their staff. And then the final one, which I think is my favourite, is a lot of discussion on a genuine partnership. So they have found that they're not on their own as a trust. They're really working as a partnership with us, and that makes a real difference. They're not kind of being left with the curriculum. We're there to help them through every stage of it. And that the fact that it's not easy, we know it's not easy to do a complete curriculum overhaul. It's a big task to take on, but the fact that it is 100% in our DNA of our organisation to support you through that change and make it as smooth and as easy as possible. And also the fact that we build up a collaborative nature. So it's a discussion on how we can fit your school. We're not a cookie cutter curriculum. We do want you to adapt it and suit your students and suit your school. It's not a one size fits all. We will support you in making sure that it works for you. So at this point, we just wanted to stop and see if anyone had any questions. Please feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A function.
So we've got the first question, Sophie, on can we talk more about how we collaborate with schools?
Absolutely. So there's lots of opportunities for collaboration with our schools. This starts all the way from the induction training. And then, as Eva has mentioned, we can actually create bespoke training for you and work with your school to build up your training plan. So you will have a call with one of our subject experts that you'll be assigned one subject expert to work with you, and they'll be your port of call, and they'll create an entire bespoke training plan on things that you want to focus on. We've got a whole catalogue of things to help you with, because it can be quite daunting to know what to focus on. And that allows you to really get that collaboration with our team. They're also your port of call. So if you need help with kind of adapting resources or working with staff on kind of adaptation, planning, anything like that, they can really give some guidance with that. If you work in a trust, we can also do kind of trust training and help bring together all the schools in your trust. And then I think our big one is the conference is a really amazing time to collaborate with schools. It allows you to attend sessions, and they are very interactive sessions. It's amazing for us just to be able to sit and watch all the schools kind of get involved, and they're very collaborative, and you're working with other schools.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I would add to that was really comprehensive, Sophie, is that in terms of taking on feedback from partner schools, so where obviously it is a resource curriculum, we do have a design team who are constantly kind of reviewing, updating, and sending out the updates to flag what we've done to partner schools. And we really do take on board the feedback from partner schools, so that if there are things that you would like done differently within the units, it's very much a collaborative process in that respect, where we really value the feedback from partner schools when redesigning and updating and revamping the curriculum, because those are the people who are physically using it. So they're the ones who are going to benefit from it the most. So it makes sense for us to listen to the eyes and ears on the ground. So we very much collaborate on the design side of it as well.
Yeah,
then the next question we have here is, what is a mastery lead?
So a mastery lead is our kind of generic term for your subject lead. So it's your maths lead, your geography lead, your science lead, English lead, and it's just the person that you nominate to be our main contact. So they'll be the person that'll be working with our subject experts, and they'll be the person that kind of is in control of the platform of adding new people and can book people onto training and everything like that. So it's usually a head of department or a subject lead.
Yeah, but it can sometimes also, there are instances where it's not actually a head of subject. It might be someone who's, say, looking to progress within the department, and say the subject lead might be focusing more on key stage 4 and 5, and then they might delegate to someone else to be the mastery lead for this key stage 3. So it depends school to school, really, depending on what your structure looks like. But yeah, like Sophie says, it typically is the subject lead, but it can be your key stage 3 lead or someone who's looking to progress in their subject career.
Absolutely.
Well, we've not got any other questions immediately. I'll just leave it there for just a second, just in case any more come through. But I'm conscious that we're not going to talk just for the sake of talking. I know we're only half an hour in, but any other questions, do just pop them in the chat. But if you would like to hear more about anything that we've spoken about today, any of our programs, if you'd like to speak with a subject specialist or with myself or Sophie, please do book in a call, and we can discuss exactly how we can support, whether that's for a September launch or whether that would be for something in the future. Happy to discuss and just see how we could make something really, really supportive for your specific school context. But yes, if no one else has any other questions,
feel free to scan that QR code. That will take you to our booking. We'll also be sharing up catching up with you individually tomorrow with the recording, and also if you wanted to stay and wanted to ask a question kind of in person, we can unmute you at the end. But we do have another question.
So when would we need to contact you if we want support for September?
That's a really good question. So you can sign up anytime between now and the end of the academic year. I would say that if you sign up from now, you get immediate access. So we would say the sooner the better, so you have more time this side of summer to get like some planning sorted and everything like that. But you have until the end of summer term to really sign up for September, but obviously the earlier the better, so you can get up and running and prepped before a September start.
Yeah, and also with the sooner you do it, you then have more options in terms of the face-to-face induction dates. So a lot of our face-to-face, we do have face-to-face induction dates in July as well as September, some of which are early July, some are mid-July. So if you were wanting to maybe go for one of those 2 July dates in order to make the most of, say, maybe some game time, then yeah, the sooner the better, really, because then it gives you more time to prepare and fit in the welcome call and go through that onboarding checklist. But yeah, any time between now and summer, really, just obviously gives you more time to prep and less work to do over summer.